Breaking news right now. There's a small brush fire along the Cahuenga Pass. Let's go right up to Derek Bell. He's overhead in Sky 9. Derek?
That's right. It broke out just minutes ago. As you can see, it's starting to go up the side of the hill right here. There are no fire department vehicles on the scene right now. It happened within just the last couple minutes. We happened to be flying over, looked down, and saw it just beginning. It is on the east side of the 170-101 at the top of the Cahuenga Pass. It looks like we've got some medium brush that's running up the side of the hill here. Winds are out of the south, relatively light, and the vegetation is rather sparse, but it looks rather dry up here, as a matter of fact. So we've got about a quarter of an acre now running uphill and to the north in the Cahuenga Pass. There is no fire department on scene right now. It does look like there is a couple of structures that are up on the north side of this thing, actually on the east side of it, and they are in the path of the fire. The fire department has not set up any structure protection, of course, over there because they have not arrived yet on scene. The clearance around some of the homes looks pretty good, except for the fact that we've got some relatively large trees, and should they go up, that'd probably give the firefighters a real headache up here. So again, a brush fire just broke out in the Cahuenga Pass on the east side of the 70. I make that the 101-170 freeway as it comes over the top of the Cahuenga Pass. Traffic now starting to slow as spectators see this the flames and smoke building on the east side of the freeway. Remember that this is really kind of on the western edge of the Griffith Park area. If it continues on to the east, it will go towards Griffith Park. But again, no fire department on scene. It looks like we've got a camp crew now that is coming down the hill to the right of the fire. It looks like they're going to be able to check this out. The access for those folks looks like it's going to be a little bit difficult. So we've got a camp crew that's showing up, no fire engines or ladders at this time. Again, it looks like still about a quarter acre running uphill towards some structures, and okay, it looks like it's not a camp crew, but a red tour bus that is in the area right here. They're getting an eyeful. Again, the traffic starting to build on the northbound 101-170, and likewise the southbound as well coming through the Cahuenga Pass. This is right at the top of the pass, right where Mulholland Drive, just north of the Mulholland Drive bridge that goes over the 101 freeway in the Cahuenga Pass. Again, fire department not yet on scene. They're going to have a difficult time getting access to this. They're going to have to get on the freeway first and get up here and then make their way towards it. We've got to believe that the air assets also likely have been already called up for water drop emissions for this thing, but it just occurred just moments before we came on to air, and you can see that it's starting to build. The wind out of the south now blowing somewhat northbound through the Cahuenga Pass, and of course it's already going uphill as well. We've got a small structure that is right up at the top there. It's difficult to make out exactly what kind it is, whether it's an outbuilding, a shed, or whatnot, but it is completely surrounded by large trees, and of course if the fire gets into those trees, that could be a real problem for firefighters. There's a little better look at that out structure right there that can't really tell exactly what it is. Does not appear to be a home though. So again, yeah, looks like we've got still about a quarter of an acre now burning. It is burning into more heavy brush right now. Looks like brush is rather dry right now, and going across, sweeping across the hillside to the north and to the east. The good news here before the fire department gets on the scene here, it looks like it's not going as fast as we would normally see in a real tough situation when we had the brush really close to one another, clumped up close to one another, and likewise the winds are not as high as we would expect on a real tough brush fire day like a red flag day. Looks like we're starting to get a...
All right, Derek, we're going to stay with your live pictures right now, but we want to go to the telephone, and we have Catherine Main from LA City Fire Department on the telephone with us. Catherine, what can you tell us about the firefight? We see the crews just arriving on the scene right now.
Okay. Yes, at 2:39 today, we got a call of a reported brush fire. We have 8 fire companies, 3 helicopters responding to that scene right now. And as you say, you see the companies arriving on scene. I don't show anybody. I show my first company on scene right now. We don't have a size up yet, and that's a thumbnail sketch of what we have going on right now.
Catherine, it looks like the fire is moving up the hill there on the side of the freeway, and there are some structures in the immediate vicinity. What is the plan of attack? Are you going to go in with some air units?
Well, we have 3 helicopters responding at this time with water dropping capabilities. We don't have our Actually, we have a size up of the fire right now. It looks like it's 1 acre. If they need additional resources, they will certainly call for that. We have 8 fire companies responding to the incident right now, as well as the 3 helicopters.
And traditionally, we don't think of February as fire season here in Southern California, but it's been extremely dry. What are the conditions like out there?
Well, we don't have much of a wind today, and we still have a relatively high fuel moisture. So that's good as far as travel of fire that slows down without high winds, things like that. There's a lower danger to those structures that are at the top of the hill.
Those people in the structures, if anybody's at home, what should they be doing right now?
Well, they should be getting ready to do evacuations. Not that that's going to be necessary, but just getting things together in case they do need to leave their home, backing their cars into the driveway, collecting important items. If evacuation is necessary, LAPD would handle evacuations. At this point, we're just getting companies on scene, and I'm going to have to let you go. We're going to go into a meeting so I can get some additional information on this fire so that we can get you the most up-to-date information that we have.
All right, Catherine Main, thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon on KCAL 9 as we cover this breaking news, a brush fire in the Cahuenga Pass, and the fire department just now on scene. It's been about 10 minutes since the fire started. Let's bring in Kai Goldberg right now as we stay with these live pictures from Sky 9. And Kai, Catherine from the LA City Fire Department saying that it's not very dry out there, but it's been a while since we've had some rain.
Yeah, it's been a long while, actually. It's been a couple of weeks, Sandra, but again, today we're making our way back into the upper 70s and the 80s, especially there near Universal City, that Cahuenga Pass. We're all very familiar with it. And again, as we take a look at that, the good news is we are seeing a lot of white smoke there, and that white smoke indicates that firefighters getting a handle on that, getting water on a lot of that flame, and they are indeed doing that. You can see them right there on the side of the 101, getting a good dousing right there, just right exactly on the edge of the freeway there on the 101. It looks like the 101 going to the north of the westerly direction. And just above that, we saw earlier a structure that looked to me to be a skateboard ramp. It was what you call a half pipe. So that not really a livable structure, just a structure that I'm sure some kids use to skateboard whenever they can get out of school or do that on the weekends. But you can see that engine there once again right up there against the side of the hill there. And again, the good news, Sandra, a lot of that white smoke. So I believe that this one, with the lack of winds out there, winds only really at about 5 to 7 miles per hour. We're not seeing any strong gusts. They're again getting a good handle on it, but there is again a lot of dry brush in these areas. But homeowners throughout the Universal City area and towards Burbank, the San Fernando Valley, they are well aware that they've got to keep their surroundings very clear. As that particular structure up above the hill, you can see right there, they've got a good clearance, and they do have a couple of big trees. You can see that tree right there at the top center of your screen, but otherwise they've got some low-lying vegetation.
All right, Kai, thanks for the update on the weather conditions. Let's go back up to Derek Bell right now. He's overhead in Sky 9. And Derek, at the top of the hill, it looked like the flames were getting pretty close to that structure. I couldn't tell if it was a house or not.
It sure did. It was a house, and it did get pretty close to it, but it kind of burned itself out. As you can see, this is a graded portion of the Cahuenga Pass right here, and we don't have a whole lot of brush that is up there right now, and it flared up real dramatically, and then it died back down. If we pull over here to this other side, it looks like we're getting some of that coming up there as well. So it looks like they've got some greenery and some areas around that house where they've cleared it. Firefighters there, you can see using those hoses good up on the side of the hill. They're doing a real good job. We tried to take a look up there towards the top, towards that house, to see if there was any fire department trucks up there. They have not gotten up there quite yet, but it looks like the firefighting effort that's going on the ground right here is really having a good effect. As we said before, the brush up there is kind of sparse because it's on a graded area. It's not real clumped together in a real thick manner. So as you can see, it kind of flares up and then dies down. With the 3 water dropping helicopters that we heard that are on order right now for this, we got to believe that just a couple of passes with those helicopters should really do a good job on this. So what looked to be a real tense situation with the fire running up the hill towards some structures, looks like the fire has really kind of torched itself or kind of burned itself up quite a bit. There is still a fair amount of fuel, no doubt, up here yet to burn. And the firefighters, their job is just beginning right now. So again, it looks like we've got 3, 4, 4 engine companies on the ground right now with a ladder also in the area. They're trying to fight it right now from the ground up towards the top of the hill. They're having some pretty good success in the areas that they're able to reach. Of course, the up towards the top, they're not able to reach that. The water dropping helicopters, and should they get any fire units up at the top to fight it from the top down, they should have a good handle on it. It looks like we've got perhaps a homeowner. If we pan over to the left there towards that house up in the upper corner there, looks like we've got somebody. Well, those houses look like they're out of danger right now, but pan to that one that's almost completely obscure. Looks like we've got somebody in the backyard there trying to assess that situation. We don't know if that's a firefighter or not, but we don't see any fire engines up there quite yet. Still, the battle is being fought from below, mainly just off of Barham as it goes right alongside the 101 freeway through the Cahuenga Pass. Again, the bulk of the fire, the flames that were down towards the bottom, they have been pretty well doused by that heavy stream of water you can see coming from that engine right there. How it started, we just don't know. However, it did start right alongside the freeway. Obviously, some sort of ignition came off of a vehicle, whether it was accidental or other, we just don't know right now. Firefighters, looks like they're doing what they can just to put out the flames right at the areas that they are able. Again, as we pull out just a little bit and look up towards the edge of the hill here, there's a good example right there, right along the edge there where they've got some fuel. It sparks up pretty well. Those look like firefighters that have made access up to the top, and as long as they're able to get some sort of hose line or actually a hand line through that area, they should have a good handle on it. There you can see some of the thick brush and kind of pockets of that brush that really kind of spark off and give some good flame. But as you can see, it's kind of coming to the edge of the area where it can continue, and it's getting into areas that are cleared off and or green around some of these homes. And of course, once we can start getting some water coming from the south side, it looks as though they'll probably get the upper hand. We're going to have to talk to Burbank Tower just here for a moment. We'll be right back with you.
All right, Derek Bell live overhead. Brush fire. This is burning in the Cahuenga Pass area, the 170, the 101 near Universal City. It is pretty close to some houses, but it looks like firefighters are getting pretty good control of this. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more coverage here on KCAL 9. We want to go right back to our breaking news right now. You can see the flames on the hillside there. This is the Cahuenga Pass, the 101 northbound, just on the side of the freeway there. And Derek Bell is overhead. He's in Sky 9. Derek?
Okay, let's pull out just a little bit, Chris, when you show the folks what we're looking at here. At the left side, that's where the fire began at about 2:40 this afternoon. We spoke about the fire perhaps getting up into the trees. As we push back again, there's those some of those tall trees. It looks like the fire has gotten into the base of those. That is setting off some smoke in the area right there. The good news is the firefighters have started to make access to this area. It's a little bit difficult to see. Most of those guys are on the far side of the fire right now, but it did get underneath some of those trees. It is really starting to put off some heavy smoke. It is surrounding this one house here that we barely just got a glimpse of the top of the roof of it, but as you can see, that is really starting to go up. Back to you now in the studio.
All right, Derek Bell live overhead. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more coverage of our breaking news here on KCAL 9. We begin at 3 o'clock with breaking news, a brush fire in the Cahuenga Pass. It's pretty close to some houses there. Let's go up to Derek Bell. He's live overhead in Sky 9 for us. Derek, how's it look right now?
Indeed, right in the backyard of this house here that we're looking at. We believe this is off of Wonderview. That is the street that comes up from the 101 freeway towards this neighborhood here. And as you can see, the flames got into the heavy trees that are around the backyard of that house, and it really started to spark off. The good news is we've got firefighters. They're down in and amongst those trees right now with fire hoses right now, battling that fire right now, but is too close for comfort, obviously, for this homeowner, in that those trees are right along the side of his house right now. We were over just on the south side a little bit. We could still see some active flame underneath some of that heavy foliage right there. What we thought was going to be a very small brush fire off the side of the freeway, as it climbed up, it looked like they were getting the upper hand on that, and then all of a sudden this area right here to the right side of the screen started to go up and that's where the firefighters have made their stand to try and block that from getting to that house. On the upper left portion of the screen, as you can see, firefighters still fighting that flame from the down on the 101 freeway side. It's laid down pretty nicely there. We've still got some active flame as the sparks get into some heavy vegetation. They go up pretty dramatically, as you can see right there. Firefighters also behind that house right there, waiting for those flames to come up to the top so they can douse them. But the real battle right now is, as we tilt down just a little bit, right next to this home off of Wonderview, we understand, is the main battle that's going on right now. Firefighters down there with their hoses trying to keep some of those trees that are surrounding that house from completely burning in this area. Again, this began about 3:40 this afternoon. A small brush fire right alongside the freeway, obviously came off of a vehicle, but other than that, we don't know the cause of the fire. Multiple units on the scene right now, ladders and engine companies, both at the bottom and on the top from LA City Fire, battling this blaze. We have not yet heard, we've heard that Fire 8, water dropping helicopter from the LA City Fire Department, is en route. We have not seen that helicopter quite yet, but we got to believe that a couple drops on this are going to get certainly that brush portion of it knocked down. The fire that is burning in those trees right alongside the house is going to prove to be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more stubborn with his amount of fuel that they've got down there as well. But good news right now is we're seeing some white smoke coming off there, which leads us to believe those firefighters getting the upper hand, getting water on the blaze as it continues to burn right off the Cahuenga Pass right here.
And Derek, that hill where it started, it's not a very big hill, but it's pretty steep, and we saw the fire just kind of hopscotch up the hill there and kind of jumped all over the place. So these firefighters are having to fight this in many different areas.
That's right. This is exactly where it began. As you can see, they're using that ladder there to get up to the bottom portion of the hill there. It's so steep. And the firefighters are trudging up the hill trying to cut a line to make sure that they don't have any fire that's going to go beyond them up towards some of those homes. So as we tilt up, you can see the firefighters with their hoses up towards the top, now attacking it from the top going down. As we pull up a little bit, we can show you how far some of those embers have jumped to get into those trees right there next to that house. That is where the bulk of the flame is going on right now. But as you can see, it's split into two areas right there, one into the trees, over to the left, off still into the brush right there. Again, when it gets into some of those big clumps of brush, it really goes off and looks dramatic, but then it dies out and moves on to the next brush right there. But there's a little bit better view of what we were talking about before. We can see underneath some of those trees that we've got some active flame that are burning under there, and firefighters again